Hey there, take a look at this map. This is a map of all the countries, and this is a map of all the countries that are represented in some form or another in Phantom Forces. I thought this was kind of cool because there's a lot of international representation in Phantom Forces, and today I just want to share what all this looks like. And trust me, there's a lot of stuff, so hopefully I didn't miss anything. Anyways, I thought we'd start with the countries with the most influence over the game, and then we'll head towards the countries that only have one or two small things seen in the game. So starting with the country that has the most influence, it's the United States. The United States is a very well-known country. I'm sure you've heard of it. The US is the only country in the world to have a gun from every category in Phantom Forces, which makes a lot of sense if you really think about it. The US military is huge, and the reach of its weaponry is overall extremely diverse and encompasses multiple centuries. For example, a lot of the modern-style AR-15 type firearms have many variants that appear in the game, but we can also see weapons that date back to World War I and II, and even a few dating back to the Civil War period. The US is also the origin country of many of the game's most iconic weapons, including the BFG-50, the AA-12, the M60, the Kriss Vector, and many others. The US's primary weapon arsenal is impressive, but even more impressive is its hold over the secondaries, as the US is responsible for 23 of the game's 45 secondaries, which is over 50%, and that also makes sense if you think about it. The US also inspired many maps in the game, overall making it one of the most influential countries on Phantom Forces. Next we have Russia, another military powerhouse that is home to many of the most popular weapons in any FPS game of your choosing. The iconic AK and RPK series makes several appearances throughout different gun classes. In fact, the only gun class that contain no Russian guns is the machine pistols class. Much like the US, the makeup of Russian weapons in the game include firearms from the modern era, as well as guns dating back to the Soviet era, such as the classic AK-47 assault rifle, the PPSH, and the Makarov pistol. There are even a few iconic names appearing in the 19th century, such as the Mosin Nagant. The longevity of the Russian arsenal is really what makes it such a dominating group of weapons throughout the entire FPS game space. Aside from weaponry, Russia's harsh winter climate actually makes an appearance in the game as well, as the map Blizzard is actually located in Russia, so I just found that sort of interesting. Germany is, as we all know, well respected for its engineering prowess, and I think Phantom Forces makes no exception for that. Though there's surprisingly not as many German guns as I initially expected in the game, there are still far more appearances than most other countries that will be covered in this video. The Heckler and Koch products tend to be consistent favorites among Phantom Forces players, such as the well-respected G36 or the HK416, just to name a couple. Germany is also home of the popular MP series, which appear in large numbers under the PDW category. In fact, the Germans have the most number of PDWs in the entire game compared to any other country. Just because Austria is right next to Germany and they speak the same language, I'm going to talk about it next. Austria does actually see a lot of representation, as the AUGs have been around in Phantom Forces since pretty much day one. We also saw the addition of the Steyr Scout sniper rifle, and a few of the G-series pistols have also been added throughout the span of the game's existence as well. They also invented that really strange scope that you can put on your guns to make them look funny. Jumping to the other side of Germany is Belgium, and Belgium has a lot of impressive contributions to the history of Phantom Forces despite it being a pretty small country. Overall, it's responsible for some classic and trusty options such as the Scar series, which have also been around nearly forever in the game. Belgium also invented the FAL series, which I tend to praise just because, you know, the FAL from Apocalypse Rising, but it counts nonetheless. Additionally, Britain has also made some important contributions that we can see in the game of Phantom Forces. Most importantly, I'd say, is the L series weapons, including the L86 LSW, which has conveniently landed a spot as one of the game's most historically loud guns. They are also the creators of the AWS and AWM sniper rifles, which are pretty irrelevant now, but are actually pretty enjoyable to use nonetheless. Oh yeah, and Britain is also the location of my least favorite map in the game, Farmlands. Moving over to Israel, we also see a couple different weapons that make an appearance in several different categories. Probably the most relevant one being the Desert Eagle XIX, which is one of the best secondaries in the game at this moment, but there are also other guns such as the TAR-21 or the X95 guns, which I don't see nearly as often. The Uzi was also invented by Israel, which has seen massive relevance in not only Phantom Forces, but FPS games and pop culture in general. South Korea has a series of guns that have been added somewhat recently within the past year-ish, which have overall expanded the range of the game and provided enjoyable alternatives to traditional primary weapons, including the K2, the K1A, the K7, and the K14. There's also a shotgun in the test place called the USAS-12 that originates from South Korea as well. I think it would be a borderline crime to forget about the iconic North Korean Type 88 that has graced Phantom Forces with the power it emanates. It's not that good as far as I can recall, but that doesn't really matter. While Japan only has one gun in the game, the Type 20 that was added recently, it actually has a lot of representation elsewhere. Did you know that there are 9 melees that are modeled based on Japanese weapons, many of them belonging to the arsenal of weapons that were used by the samurais back in the day? Japan also has a map modeled after it called Neon District, and another one in the test place called Blackout. Italy has 2 shotguns in the game, as well as a few pistols, making it decently relevant to the game's showcase of weapons. Italy also has a map in the game based on this lake, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, and it also has 2 other maps in the test place also being modeled after its beautiful small towns. So now, I'm going to do the Scandinavian countries together because it felt right. Starting with Norway, they are the creators of the AG3 battle rifle, modeled after the German G3. Sweden is also responsible for the KG99, and more notably the Tech 9, as well as the popular comp Aimpoint. And finally, Finland is the contributor to the TRG-42 sniper rifle, which has also seen a lot of relevance as a new and interesting sniper rifle as it was added to the game. The rest of the Asian countries that see some representation are the following: China for the map Black Site, which was modeled after a Chinese prison actually, and the Coyote Site, which is also made in China. India for the ASMI machine pistol that is currently in the test place. Nepal as the Krampus Kukri was also modeled after some sort of Nepalese knife. Cambodia as the map Jungle is located there. Indonesia for the Karambit, the Philippines for the M1911 machine pistol, and Taiwan because the map Transit is also located there. The rest of the European countries that are relevant in Phantom Forces include France for the FAMAS assault rifle and the HEK-8 sniper rifle, Romania for the Romanian grip, Portugal for the map Paradise, which is located there, Switzerland for the Swiss pocket knife as well as the new FT300 sniper, and the Czech Republic for the Alien pistol that is currently in the test place, as well as the Czechoslovakian Scorpion pistol. South Africa also has some representation because of the map Resort that is currently in the test place being located there, as well as the new NTW-20 sniper rifle. Also, the Halbech device was developed in Rhodesia, although Rhodesia is no longer a country, just to clarify. We also have some more Middle East exposures seen mostly in the maps. Desert Storm and Second Storm are both set in Egypt, and Bazaar and Bazaar Revamp are both set somewhere in the Middle East, although the exact country is unspecified. There's also a map in the test place called Fortress, which is located in Turkey. Finally, we have Canada with the C7A2 and the C8A2 in the test place, which are both primary weapons, and the hockey stick, which, as we all know, hockey was developed in Canada. There's also Brazil with a few weapons such as the Judge, the Jury, and the Executioner that make an appearance in the game. So there you have it. That's all the different national representations seen throughout the entirety of Phantom Forces. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a lot of work to make and research, but I'm glad I did it. And I just want to thank everyone for watching to the end. Until next time, have a great one.